You're at your fiancé's birthday party. The woman you've been engaged to for 6 long years. The room is filled with laughter and celebration. Then she drops a bomb that changes everything. At her own birthday bash, my fiancée Sophia made a shocking announcement. She was planning to marry another guy. The guests shared uneasy looks. They glanced at me with pure sympathy. But here's where things get interesting. Out of nowhere, I started clapping. I handed her a ring as a gesture of goodwill. I wished her a long, happy marriage. I hoped she'd have many kids with this new man. I removed the engagement ring from my finger. I held it out for anyone to take. But nobody moved a muscle. Sophia grabbed the edge of her dress. She shot me a resentful glare that could cut glass. The guy next to her smirked as he draped his arm around her possessively. I sighed and placed the ring on a nearby table. Then I casually pulled Mia over to my side. Mia had been trailing behind Sophia and me since we were kids. She was like our shadow, always there. She looked at me completely puzzled and asked, "What's up, Ethan?" I teased, "Have you been hitting the drinks tonight?" She shook her head firmly. "Nah, not at all." I tossed her my car keys with a grin. "I've had way too much. Drive me home." "Sure thing," she replied without hesitation. Just a few steps later, Sophia hurried over. She grabbed my arm with desperation. "Ethan, what's this about?" I massaged my temples, feeling the weight of exhaustion. I explained calmly, "Yesterday was a complete mess. We had an unexpected situation at work. We ended up working all night at the office. After the morning meeting, I had to travel to the next city. I only got back this afternoon. Then I went to pick up your birthday gift." I looked at her tired eyes. "I just wanted to say happy birthday and leave. It's 8 o'clock now. I've got another meeting at 10, and a flight to Paris at 6 tomorrow morning. I'm too wiped out to play games with you, Sophia." Sophia stood there completely stunned. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. I was genuinely exhausted. My head was pounding like a drum. Without saying another word, I broke free from her grip and left the party behind. Maya drove me home in comfortable silence. As I stepped out of the car, I handed her the birthday present I had bought for Sophia. It was a car key. Sophia had wanted that specific car for ages. I'd gone through a lot of trouble to get it for her. Mia looked genuinely surprised. "You're giving this to me?" I nodded with certainty. "Yeah, take the key. Grab the car from the dealership yourself." "Thanks, bro." Her gratitude was real this time, not forced. "So you're breaking up with Sophia?" she asked quietly. "Yeah, I'm calling off the engagement. If anyone asks, don't hide it." Sophia really crossed the line this time. Mia shook her head. "You should have set her straight long ago." I smiled, waved her off, and went inside my house. After a quick shower, I forced myself to stay awake. I had to finish that late-night meeting. As soon as it was over, I crashed onto the bed without any hesitation. The next morning, my secretary tried waking me up. But I was still groggy and disoriented. It felt like I hadn't slept a single wink. Just a quick shut-eye, and my phone was already flooded with unread messages and missed calls. Some folks were curious about what happened between me and Sophia. Others were gossiping about our dramatic breakup. Most were echoing Maya's thoughts. They believed I should have put Sophia in her place years ago. Everyone thought I was just trying to curb her spoiled behavior. They assumed we'd patch things up later like always. In their eyes, I was head over heels for Sophia. They thought I loved her so much, I'd lost all common sense. But here's the truth they didn't know. Sophia was the girl I fell for back in high school. She was absolutely stunning and full of vibrant life. She was impossible to ignore, like a magnet drawing everyone's attention. I wasn't immune to her charm either, so I asked her out one day. "Sophia, will you be my girlfriend?" She looked at me like I was completely crazy. She said coldly, "Top student. I don't like goody two-shoes." Her harsh rejection led me to some reckless teenage years. I started smoking, drinking, skipping classes. I spent time clubbing, all just to hang out with her crowd. Until one day, she showed up with this smooth, confident guy. His arm was wrapped around her possessively. "Let me introduce you to my boyfriend," she announced with a bright smile. It hit me like a truck then. It wasn't that she disliked good students in general, she just didn't like me specifically. Sophia couldn't swim, but she was as flirtatious as they come. She was always juggling multiple boyfriends like it was a hobby. Fast forward to our sophomore year in college. We got engaged without even dating properly. It came out of nowhere and hit her hard. She cried bitterly but then snapped at me. "You did all this just to be with me. Don't you know I'll never love you?" I remember telling her calmly, "It's cool. I don't need you to like me. I just need you to marry me." From sophomore year until now, Sophia had been my fiancée for 6 long years. She was constantly flirting with other guys, pushing boundaries. Sometimes I'd clean up her messy situations, but each time I'd ask just one thing. Did you sleep with him? She'd dodge the question every single time, and I'd tell her firmly, if you did, you're free to go. Strangely enough, despite having tons of admirers, she never let anyone get too close. I never figured out what she was holding onto so tightly. 3 days after my business trip to Paris, I hadn't heard from Sophia at all. People kept telling me where she was and what she was doing. Turns out, the guy she said she'd marry was already dumped by her. She was hitting the bars daily with our usual crowd. Even Iva threatened to cut ties with her father over the drama. Plus, the car I gave Mia was bought back by Sophia. She paid double the original price for it. When I landed back home, I saw Sophia waiting for me. Even with sunglasses covering her face, she looked pale and exhausted. She said quietly, "Dad wants to invite you over for dinner." "Sorry," I replied without hesitation. "I've got stuff to handle and can't make it. I'll call Director Jiang to apologize personally." Sophia looked at me for a long moment. Then she turned and left, saying something cold like, "Suit yourself." I didn't mind her attitude at all. I drove straight home because I genuinely had things to do. My grandfather had called me earlier. He was asking me to come home for dinner. He said it was just dinner, but I knew better. It was going to be a lecture about my fallout with Sophia. He was giving me an easy out, but I wasn't taking it. "Grandpa, I want to break off the engagement with the Jiang family." His face darkened immediately. "Sophia's a bit headstrong. Do what you want, but I won't approve of you ditching this engagement." "No, I'm serious. I want to call it off completely." He slammed the table hard. "Kneel down." I obediently knelt without protest. "Do you know how much we'll lose if we break off the engagement with the Jiang family?" Of course I did. For 6 years, our alliance with them had been smooth and mutually beneficial, but separating now would definitely peel off a protective layer. I smiled confidently and said, "What if I can make up for that loss?" He calmed down slightly. He tapped his fingers on the table thoughtfully. "We'll talk after you sort it out properly." After leaving the old family house, I messaged my biggest competitor. "Miss Kim, need a husband." Ava was the golden girl of our entire generation. Everyone admired her success and grace. Her family always boasted proudly, "Look at Ava, the perfect wealthy beauty. She excels in absolutely everything." She carefully avoided spoiled rich kids like the plague. It wasn't until I took over the family business that I finally interacted with her directly. She was the golden child my parents always praised endlessly. Finally, I had my sweet revenge. Last month, we both bid on the same piece of valuable land simultaneously. I won by the narrowest margin possible. It kept my business circle thoroughly impressed. After messaging her my bold question, Ava didn't respond for hours. It wasn't until 11 at night that she finally replied with a simple question mark. Excited like a teenager, I hugged my phone tightly. I called her directly without waiting. "Miss Kim, you busy?" She chuckled politely. "What's up, Mr. Ethan?" I got straight to the point. "Have you thought about my earlier question?" Ava was silent for a long moment. Then she said one word, "Husband." I took a deep breath. Did she just call me husband? Should I go along with this unexpected turn? As I hesitated awkwardly, she added, "Are you trying to set me up with someone?" "Miss Kim," I was completely speechless. It was just a direct question. Good thing I didn't blurt out something weird and embarrassing. So I said carefully, "Basically, Miss Kim, you're at a marriageable age. I have a perfect match for you. Are you interested?" Dead silence filled the phone line. It was incredibly awkward, but I wasn't giving up that easily. The next morning, I went straight to Ava's company building. Seeing me approach, she frowned slightly. Her eyes avoided mine completely. "Need something, Mr. Ethan?" Was she seriously pretending to forget our conversation? I wasn't going to let her off that easily. Opportunity knocks once. Marrying me is a guaranteed win with absolutely no losses. Sign up now and enjoy an ultra-value bride package. Ava was completely speechless. She bit her lip nervously and asked, "Are you serious? Did you think I was joking last night?" "No, I thought you were drunk." "All right then." I looked at her with complete sincerity. "So will you consider me as an option?" Ava sized me up for a long time. "I heard you had a fallout with Sophia. That seems legit enough, but if even she doesn't want you, why should I?" She didn't outright refuse my proposal. That meant there was definitely room to negotiate terms. "For the Clearwater Bay project, I'll give you a 0.5% discount." Ava twirled a pen between her fingers. 10%, 3%. I was taking advantage of the situation. I looked incredulous. 1%, 3%, 1.5%, no more than that. 3%. I was starting to get seriously frustrated. "Don't push it. 2% max. Deal." I was absolutely speechless. Ava said with a straight face, "It's not about the money. I just like helping others succeed." She was a total gold digger, but I respected that. With things finally settled with Ava, I felt confident enough to negotiate with the Jang family directly. I arranged to meet Sophia's dad, Mr. Carter, for a formal discussion. Unexpectedly, Sophia came along to the meeting. I hadn't seen her in days. She looked even more downcast and defeated than before. Before entering the conference room, Sophia grabbed my arm desperately. "Why didn't you call me? Our engagement is between us. If you wanted to discuss it, why didn't you talk to me first?" I looked at Sophia quietly. Sometimes I really envied her complete naivety about how the world worked. "You're mistaken. Our engagement has never been just between us two people." Sophia stared at me. Her face went completely pale. When we walked into the room, Chairman Jang was already seated at the head of the table. We exchanged some polite, formal greetings. He said kindly, "I know Sophia upset you recently. I brought her today because she's still young and impulsive. If you have any complaints, feel free to speak up. I won't be biased toward my daughter." I smiled diplomatically and said, "I invited you today to discuss the marriage arrangement between me and the Jang family. Chairman Jang, I intend to end this engagement completely." The relaxed atmosphere instantly froze like ice. Sophia abruptly stood up from her chair. "I disagree with this decision." Chairman Jang's face darkened with anger. "Sit down, you brat." Sophia met her father's furious gaze. She sneered with defiance. "What's wrong? Planning behind my back again? You forced me into this engagement. Now you're backing out like it's nothing. What do I even mean to you people?" Chairman Jang slammed the table violently. "What do you want? You opposed our engagement for years. You've been causing trouble for 6 straight years. How much embarrassment have you brought to both our families? If you don't want to cancel the engagement, then what exactly are you doing?" Sophia was stunned for a moment. Then she lowered her head in defeat. Chairman Jang gave her a stern, final look. Now, she left the room reluctantly, but not before grabbing my hand and running like we were eloping together. I was completely speechless. "Sophia, what are you doing?" She didn't say anything in response, but her grip tightened painfully, leaving red marks on my arm. I pulled away forcefully, wincing in sharp pain. "Can't you trim your claws?" It was like she snapped back to reality suddenly. She looked guiltily at the marks. She cautiously asked, "Are you okay?" A knot formed in my stomach. I never expected Sophia to be the first major obstacle in ending our engagement. Maybe Sophia could even help me navigate this situation, I thought. I definitely wasn't expecting her to become the first roadblock. "Sophia, what exactly are you doing? Haven't you always wanted to cancel our engagement? Now that things are going your way, why are you making such a fuss?" Sophia suddenly laughed, but it sounded more like she was about to cry. "Going my way? Does my opinion matter to you at all? Have you ever asked for my consent before making life-changing decisions?" I began to understand what she meant. "So you feel that me proposing the cancellation hurts your pride? No problem at all. You can propose it instead. I can even tell everyone that you dumped me first." I smiled and continued, "Actually, it doesn't have to be so complicated. Didn't you already announce you were marrying someone else? Breaking off our engagement now is perfectly reasonable." She said quietly, "That's over and done with." I asked, confused, "What do you mean?" Sophia looked directly at me. "I never intended to marry anyone else." I was silent for a few long seconds. "But you'll end up marrying someone else eventually." I realized at her birthday party that the person she announced might not have been someone she truly wanted to marry. But sooner or later, she'd get hitched to somebody. I wasn't the type to sit back and wait passively. I had to take the initiative while I still could. In the end, Sophia and I split on terrible terms. She left with a resentful, bitter remark. "Ethan, this time it's not up to you alone." Of course it wasn't just up to me. It wasn't up to her either. This kind of decision needed serious negotiation between families. Before meeting Chairman Jang again, I had already taken Ava to meet my grandfather. We had a meal together and chatted casually about business and life. We didn't say much directly, but those who understood the situation understood completely. That night, my grandfather finally relented. "I'm old and can't handle your personal affairs anymore. Do what you want this time." This time, I went straight to Chairman Jang's office. In and out within just 1 hour. The engagement was officially off. We agreed to announce the cancellation on our official websites at 8 in the morning the next day. Ava asked curiously, "Sir, so what exactly did you offer the Jang family?" Ava no longer had her usual daytime aloofness. She looked at me with genuine curiosity. After leaving the Jang Corporation building, I called Ava. I wanted to invite her to dinner. She told me to come over to her place directly instead. I was hesitant at first. Then I thought, since our relationship was changing rapidly, it wouldn't hurt to test the waters carefully. Turns out I overthought the whole situation. She just wasn't in the mood to go out that evening. She didn't have any special plans prepared. She just had Aunt Jan cook 2 prepackaged meals. She opened a bottle of wine. It was pretty chill and relaxed. I said, "You're overthinking it. Am I someone who'd swallow my pride unnecessarily?" Ava tilted her head, looking like she wanted to hear more details. I explained patiently, "Actually, the Jiang family doesn't have much real leverage over me. In these 6 years, no one was foolish enough to ignore mutual benefits. We were just mutually benefiting from each other's success. The only complication is Clearwater Bay. The Jiang family is the primary investor. If I break off the engagement, they'll pull their investment immediately. If they do that, the land would be stuck with me. It would break my entire capital chain completely. So I urgently need someone with funds, strength, and the willingness to be a big-shot investor." I looked at her with sparkling, hopeful eyes. Ava was completely speechless. "Don't look at me like that." I was confused. "Like what? You're making me feel like a complete fool." I was baffled. "How could that be? You're my savior in this situation." Ava sneered silently, looking absolutely incredulous. So I teased playfully, "Look, to repay your life, saving grace, I'm even offering myself to you. If you don't believe me, I can offer myself anytime you want." Ava blushed deeply and said, "Stop being inappropriate." It was 9:30 that evening. We both took out our phones simultaneously. "We're announcing the news tomorrow. Tell me, would it be unkind if I shorted the Jiang stock when the US market opens?" Ava let out a short laugh, completely ignoring my question. Curious, I looked at her phone screen and hissed, "You're being looked up," and said, "Right back at you." I had a terrible feeling. "Whose stocks did you buy?" "Of course, the Jiang and the Carter families." I was absolutely speechless. The next day, the news of our broken engagement spread like wildfire across social media. The internet exploded with speculation. So did our entire social circle. Groups of people called and messaged me constantly. Overwhelmed by the chaotic situation, I posted a few simple words on social media. "We've broken up. Please don't disturb." I was too busy to respond to individual messages. There was also mounting pressure from board members to appease their concerns. Unexpectedly, Sophia barged into my conference room. My assistant looked completely helpless. She mouthed that she couldn't hold back Sophia's determination. Sophia didn't look well at all. I could see the red veins in her eyes clearly. Furious, I said firmly, "Please go to my office. We'll talk after this meeting." Sophia let out a cold, bitter laugh. She bit her lip hard. "Ethan, you're ruthless. Truly ruthless. You said you liked me. You chased me all these years. You insisted on marrying me." I slammed a folder on the table, cutting her off mid-sentence. "Elise, please continue the meeting." "Yes, Ethan." I glanced at Sophia coldly and walked out of the conference room. She followed me into my private office. "Feeling embarrassed now, aren't you, Ethan? You brought all this drama on yourself. I never asked for anything from you. I never forced you to do anything. It's you who kept pushing me relentlessly." I looked at Sophia with ice-cold eyes. After she finished her rant, I replied calmly, "Indeed, it's quite embarrassing, but it's not my reputation that's tarnished. It's your Carter family's name." Sophia glared at me intensely. It was as if she wanted to pierce right through me with her stare. I continued without emotion, "Sophia, this isn't the first time you've trespassed into my conference room. But it'll be the absolute last. If it happens again, I'll have security escort you out immediately. We're all adults here. Adults have their own rules and boundaries. Not every place is somewhere you can come and go as you please." Sophia seemed completely crushed. Her face turned deathly pale. She murmured weakly, "You said you liked me, Ethan. You can't do this to me." Seeing her like that, I felt a bit helpless despite everything. "Sophia, can you get a grip?" "Yes, I said I liked you. But when was that exactly?" "The first time I told you I liked you was in high school. The last time was also in high school. We were 17 then. Now we're 26. Almost 10 years have passed. In 10 years, my interests, tastes, and style have all changed drastically. I've long forgotten what it felt like to like you 10 years ago. Besides, does the fact that I liked you even matter to you?" Sophia staggered back 2 steps. "So you haven't liked me for a long time?" "Yes, I haven't liked you for a long time. All these years, I've done so much for you. You acted completely indifferent, as if it didn't matter at all. Even when I kissed others right in front of you, you acted like you didn't see it. You warned them not to spread photos. I kept testing your limits, but you had no boundaries with me. As long as I didn't sleep with others, everything was fine, huh? As long as I didn't sleep with them, you didn't care what I did. Everyone thinks you're madly in love with me. But only I know the truth. You don't love me at all." Sophia shouted desperately, "Why? Why do you say you love me when you want to? Why do you say you don't when you don't? Why do you decide to get engaged and then cancel it whenever you feel like it? Ethan, who do you think you are? I was stunned and blurted out honestly, because I have the ability to do so. Now, at the same time, I realized something was seriously off. Sophia, don't tell me you actually like me. She froze completely. She wanted to refute it but held back her words. Sophia, who taught you to like someone this way? She seemed to see a glimmer of hope in my question. I don't know how to like someone properly. I've been wrong all these years. I won't do this anymore. Let's not cancel the engagement, okay? It was the first time she spoke so humbly and vulnerably, but it wasn't necessary anymore. Sophia, I said clearly, over the years, my criteria for choosing a partner have changed completely. When I was young, I liked someone beautiful and flamboyant. But now I like someone who can stand shoulder to shoulder with me. Someone we can mutually respect and understand. You're not suitable. Sophia never met my current criteria for a life partner. But the Jiang family alliance did meet my business needs. I used to think if Sophia wanted to cause drama, so be it. As long as she didn't trouble me directly, I could handle it. But over the years, she proved to be nothing but trouble. Ava called me later that week. Your ex-fiancé is still pestering you relentlessly. I chuckled. Miss Kim, your information is spot on. Ava sneered. It's not that I'm well informed. It's that your ex-fiancé is making too big of a public scene. I felt a headache coming on. She kept referring to Sophia as my ex-fiancé. It sounded a bit sour. But I didn't think she was actually jealous. Ava and I are similar personalities. If someone was causing a scene on her side, I wouldn't be happy either. I quickly promised. This is the last time. It won't happen again. Ava acknowledged with a simple hum before hanging up. After that call, I told my assistant to inform the front desk. Sophia would need an appointment if she came in the future. After a hectic day, I finally appeased all the board members' concerns. At the end of the workday, I unexpectedly got another call from Ava. Your front desk asked me to make an appointment. I was speechless. But that wasn't the main point of her visit. I was here to see you. Ava didn't speak, so I said, please hand the phone to the receptionist. After sorting things out with the confused staff, I instructed my assistant clearly. If Ava comes in the future, don't stop her. Let her come directly to my office. Ava, my assistant looked absolutely astonished. I nodded confidently. She gave me a thumbs up silently. Ava arrived later, and she wasn't empty-handed. She brought me dinner from my favorite restaurant. I was genuinely hungry, but 7 or 8 packets of ready-made meals were too much food, so I tactfully said, I couldn't eat that much. Ava was speechless. Can't I eat with you? So Ava and I rearranged a comfortable spot in the office. We ate while discussing the crucial Clearwater Bay project in detail. After all, she'd be holding my financial lifeline in the future. I needed to be completely open with her. By the time we finished talking business, we were both completely full. I asked, Ava, you didn't come all this way just to bring me dinner, did you? Ava raised an eyebrow. I've already met your grandfather properly. When are you planning to meet my parents with me? Her sudden words startled me so much that the water in my mouth got completely stuck. I couldn't swallow or spit it out. I ended up coughing violently. Ava looked at me with clear dissatisfaction. You're not thinking of burning bridges after crossing them, are you? I suppressed my cough and hurriedly said, how could I do that? Ava's mood softened immediately. She reached out and patted my back gently. Pathetic. After a while, I finally calmed down completely. I felt a bit helpless about the situation. Ava, to be honest, I don't have experience interacting successfully with elders. I shook my head and didn't say more. My parents died early in my life. I was raised by my grandfather, who was extremely profit-driven. He groomed me solely as a business heir. Our relationship was always based on interests and transactions. If I harmed those interests, I got punished. Feelings didn't matter at all. It was all cold business. But Ava's parents were different. They were different because the one with whom I had a vested interest was Ava herself, not her parents directly. For a moment I felt a bit melancholic about my upbringing. But Ava didn't mind my background at all. What's there to experience? Just cater to their preferences. My dad loves quality tea. My mom loves beauty and elegant things. I took a deep breath. When? Next weekend. Alright, got it. Ava frowned at me. What's wrong with your expression? I asked. What do you mean? She sighed helplessly. Don't act like you're marching to your doom. My parents won't eat you alive. Besides, I'll help you smooth things over. Being with Ava was super comfortable and natural. She understood boundaries perfectly. She knew when to step forward or back. She never made me feel offended or uncomfortable. Plus, since being with her, I was making more and more money consistently. Could you be my lucky charm? I asked playfully. Ava laughed warmly. Your ability to attract wealth isn't bad either. Satisfied with our partnership, I extended my hand formally. Pleasure working with you. Ava shook my hand warmly. Pleasure working with you too. I hadn't seen Sophia for a long time. Just when I was about to forget her completely, she showed up again. She looked absolutely disabled and broken. Lately, she'd been acting increasingly wild. Her clothes were getting more revealing. She was staying out at bars later and later every single day. I saw her crazy nightlife plastered all over social media. I even got several calls from mutual friends. They told me Sophia wouldn't leave me alone. She insisted they convince me to go talk to her. They asked me to consider our shared past. Most of these persistent people, I blocked gradually. Things finally quieted down. I didn't expect her to show up at my doorstep. She stood there holding a bottle of wine. She looked completely lifeless and defeated. I pretended not to see her. I was about to open my door when Sophia grabbed my hand tightly. I whispered sternly, Sophia, let go. Her hand was trembling uncontrollably. I hesitated for a moment. Then she finally let go. I breathed a sigh of relief. As I was closing the door, Sophia spoke up. I know everything now. I was stunned. What? She looked up at me. Tears were welling in her eyes. My dad told me something shocking. If it weren't for you choosing to get engaged to me back then, he would have brought his illegitimate son home long ago. She raised her arm to cover her eyes. He actually has an illegitimate son. He's just 2 years younger than me. And I never knew this secret. The day after we cancelled our engagement, he let him into the company. I didn't know. Not long ago, he transferred 2% of the shares to him. I still didn't know anything. Until yesterday, he brought him home. He said coldly, that's your brother. Get along with him. How is that even possible? Is he completely crazy? She added with a broken voice. If it weren't for you protecting me, he wouldn't have let his daughter inherit the Zhang family's assets at all. He would have brought back his illegitimate son long ago. Sophia lowered her arm. Her eyes were red and swollen. Ethan, am I a complete failure as a daughter? I replied calmly, yes, a complete failure. Sophia gave a bleak, hollow smile. You really hate me. You won't even give me a bit of comfort. She was clearly drunk. I didn't want to argue with someone in that state. Sophia took 2 steps back. She leaned against the wall for support. I always seemed to be the one left behind. When I was young, I rebelled against him constantly. I went against him at every turn. I thought that as long as I didn't do what he said, I could make him uncomfortable. I thought indulging myself was punishment for him. But he had already given up on me completely. And you too. Sophia looked at me, half crying, half laughing. I was still trying to find ways to make you value me more. But you haven't liked me for a long time. I'm the only one spinning in endless circles while you all moved forward. You all moved forward with your lives. I'm the only one left behind. You've all abandoned me. None of you want me anymore. No one waited for me. None of you waited. She kept repeating similar words, completely lost in her overwhelming emotions. I called her best friend. Not long after, she arrived in a bright red sports car. Looking at me, she sighed deeply. What kind of ill-fated relationship do you two have? I smiled without saying anything in response. Can't you give her another chance? She pleaded. I shook my head firmly. You already called it an ill-fated relationship yourself. But she gritted her teeth and angrily helped Sophia up. I knew she'd regret it. Serves her right. Sophia's situation made me momentarily lament my lost youth. But it didn't affect me much emotionally. Instead, dealing with Ava's parents was becoming my real challenge. Ava's mother loved beauty and elegant things, but buying cosmetics or skincare was out of the question. So I finally chose a stunning diamond necklace. A woman loves diamonds forever, after all. As for Ava's father, the gift had to be premium tea leaves. I had several expensive options. I planned to have my grandfather help me decide, but after he looked them over carefully, he said dismissively, penny wise, pound foolish. I was helpless. They were already expensive enough. The grandpa snorted. Wait here. After a while he took out a special cake of tea. Take this instead. Looking at the simple, unimpressive packaging I said, are you trying to get me thrown out of their house? Grandpa rolled his eyes. Can't you recognize a treasure when you see one? This one is worth 10 times what you're holding. Really? Get out. In the end, I took his advice. After all, why not trust his experience? Before I left, Grandpa reminded me seriously, when you go to someone else's house, speak nicely. Listen to the elders. Don't argue with them. I was speechless. I wanted to retort. When have I ever argued? But that would seem like arguing. So I could only shut up, feeling aggrieved. Soon it was the weekend. I had the driver take me to pick up Ava. On the way there, I was like a mute person. The car was suffocatingly quiet. Suddenly, Ava held my hand gently. What are you doing? giving you some warmth, in case you freak out before we get there. If I say I'm not nervous, would you believe me? She shook her head with a knowing smile. I didn't say anything more. All right, maybe a little nervous. So I directly put my arm around her shoulders protectively. This is what real warmth feels like. She asked teasingly. Are you sure you're not trying to take advantage of me? I sneered playfully. Am I supposed to? She pursed her lips and nodded. Maybe. The atmosphere at the Kim family home was more harmonious than I expected. Ava's father cooked personally, and the food was absolutely delicious. Ava's mother focused on being beautiful, and she was truly stunning. She had been a famous actress in her younger days. They loved my carefully chosen gifts. Ava's mother immediately wore the diamond necklace with obvious delight. The conversation afterward was a bit puzzling though. Ava's father asked directly, when are you planning to get married? Ava looked at me expectantly. When are you planning to marry me? I really wanted to scold her. I thought she was trying to throw me under the bus completely. So I said diplomatically, I can do it anytime. It's up to Ava's preferences. I'll follow her lead. Ava looked at me thoughtfully. I raised my eyebrows at her questioningly. She then said confidently, my idea is to get the marriage certificate at the end of this month. We'll hold the wedding ceremony at the end of the year. I was absolutely dumbfounded by her timeline. Ava's mother was thrilled. She started excitedly discussing detailed wedding plans with us immediately. I felt confused and overwhelmed until we finally left their house. Sure enough, talking about money was so much easier than family dynamics. As I was leaving, she said seriously, let me know when you've made up your mind. Made up my mind about what? Ava said matter of factly, get the marriage certificate at the end of the month, wedding ceremony at the end of the year. In business, we need to add some insurance to our cooperation partnership. Isn't marriage a natural thing? Lying in bed that night, I began to think deeply about marriage. I was weighing the pros and cons carefully. I was analyzing gains and losses systematically. I found myself in a complete dilemma. But after drinking a glass of cold water, I had an epiphany. Ava seemed to have given me a false proposition. I originally intended to marry her anyway. Does it matter whether it's sooner or later? Obviously not. So I sent her a simple message. Ava, I've thought it over. Ava replied with a question mark. I ignored her confusion and went straight to sleep. The next day I told her directly. Let's get married. Ava looked at me speechlessly. She asked. Are you sure about this? I was puzzled. Weren't we already planning to get married? After saying that, I immediately signed a check for $200 million. I handed it to her without hesitation. Ava nodded sincerely. Impressive as always, Mr. Ethan. It wasn't until years later, after our daughter was born, that Ava told me something funny. Back then, I thought you'd give me a romantic proposal. But no, impressive as always, Mr. Ethan. You just handed me a business check. No frills whatsoever. So you agreed anyway? Yes, making money is nothing to be ashamed of. Ava and I scheduled our marriage registration for 3 days later. On that exact day, Ava would officially invest in Clearwater Bay. When we announced our marriage certificate, it would be a perfect win-win situation. Today, someone from the Zhang family was coming over to discuss our future business collaboration. What I didn't expect was that the person who came was Sophia herself. Surprised for a second, I quickly stood up to shake her hand professionally. President Zhang, pleasure to meet you. Sophia looked at me intensely. She gripped my hand tightly for several long seconds before finally letting go. President Ethan, pleasure to meet you. Without much small talk, we got straight to business matters. What surprised me most was that Sophia didn't propose any difficult conditions. All the contracts were perfectly in line with our previous agreements. She said professionally, rest assured, President Ethan. Our personal matters won't affect the collaboration between our families. I wasn't sure if Sophia had done something behind the scenes. But it didn't matter to me. After all, only a fool wouldn't take advantage of a genuinely good deal. So we happily signed all the contracts without issues. President Ethan, would you like to have a meal together? I nodded and said politely, of course. Since Sophia decided to get involved in the company's affairs directly, we'd have plenty of opportunities to interact professionally in the future. After all, it's wise to leave room for future business encounters. Sophia chose a place I often visited for business meals. Though it was my first time going there with her personally. She ordered dishes I mostly liked, but I pretended not to notice her thoughtfulness. I raised my glass diplomatically. Thank you for your hospitality today, President Zhang. I hope we have a pleasant cooperation in the future. Sophia looked at me with a bitter, sad smile. Do we need to be so distant now? Know that we're no longer engaged. Can't we at least be friends? The more friends, the better. I put down my glass and said diplomatically, "Of course we can." Sophia was stunned. Her expression didn't look good at all. "Do you really have no feelings for me at all?" I felt a headache coming on. Having been through so many business relationships, how did I not notice she was such a hopeless romantic? "Sophia, since you're joining the company officially, focus on your work. Don't think about unnecessary personal things." Sophia stared at me without blinking. "If I do well in business, can you give me another chance?" I was a bit puzzled. What kind of chance? "Ethan, I won't give up on you." I felt conflicted. How should I tactfully tell her that I was about to get married to someone else? "Sophia, you can do anything you want. But not for me. I'm not responsible for someone else's life choices," she said desperately. "So all these years, you've never advised me. Whatever I wanted to do was my own business and had nothing to do with you. Once I did something that crossed your bottom line, you kicked me away, right?" Sophia's emotions became increasingly agitated. I looked at her and said calmly, "So are you blaming me for everything?" Her eyes showed pure panic. "That's not what I meant." I rubbed my temples tiredly. "Sophia, I've carved my own path through hard work and countless setbacks. I can't even be sure that the road I'm on is the right one. Why should I plan your entire life for you again? You can do anything you want. But don't involve me. I'm not responsible for your life choices anymore." I got up to leave the restaurant. Sophia reached out to stop me. At that exact moment, the door to the private room was pushed open. Iva walked in confidently. "I heard from the manager you were here." I stepped forward and put my arm around her shoulder protectively. "Let me introduce you. This is Ava, my wife." I was ignoring Sophia's deathly pale face. After her stunned reaction, I pulled Ava away from the awkward situation. "What, using me as a shield? What, aren't you? Am I wrong? Has the law recognized it yet? Then can I exercise my husband's rights in advance?" Ava chuckled softly and held my hand. "Of course you can, hubby." It seemed I had greatly upset Sophia. She grabbed me regardless of the public occasion. "Don't do this, Ethan. Don't treat me like this. You're lying to me, right? You're taking revenge on me, aren't you?" Her eyes were full of desperate pleading as she looked at me. Before I could react, Ava slapped her hard. "Miss Carter, please have some self-respect." Sophia covered her face, her eyes filled with pure rage. She growled, "Get lost. Give Ethan back to me." Ava smiled slightly and said, "Miss Carter, you and Ethan have already cancelled your engagement." She shouted, "This is between Ethan and me. It has nothing to do with you." With that, she quickly raised her hand to hit Ava, but just as she was about to make contact, I grabbed her hand. I pulled forcefully and pushed her to the ground. "Are you okay?" I asked, looking at Ava with genuine concern. Sophia, who had been staring at me desperately, now had the light in her eyes completely extinguished. I sneered at Sophia coldly. "Sophia, this is really meaningless. Whether you're truly regretful or not, we've already cancelled our engagement. So please swallow your emotions, even if it hurts. Stop bothering me." Ava and I went down to the underground parking lot. Before getting into the car, she suddenly pulled me close. "What's wrong?" She looked at me with a smile in her eyes. "President Ethan, you're pretty cool. I found that I kind of like you." I raised an eyebrow playfully. "Just a little," Ava said with growing confidence, then a bit more. I lifted my hand to smooth her hair gently. "Approved by President Ethan, we have a partnership. We're gonna get married. We might even spend a lifetime together." I didn't mind developing real feelings with Ava. 2 days later, Ava and I got up early. We rushed to the Civil Affairs Bureau together. Our assistant had already taken a number for us. Shoulder to shoulder, head to head, we took our registration photo. My heartbeat accelerated at that pivotal moment. We obtained our marriage certificate as quickly as possible. Then we hurried back to the company immediately. Ivo officially invested her funds that same day. Then our official website posted our partnership announcement and marriage certificate proudly. "Mr. Ethan, happy new lead. Looking forward to our cooperation." "Mrs. Ethan, happy new lead. Looking forward to our collaboration." After registering our marriage, Ava and I moved in together. I bought a beautiful property very close to both our workplaces. We were highly compatible, both in work and in daily life. This made my life gradually more fulfilling and triumphant. I began to expand my business territory aggressively. I was venturing into any profitable industry without hesitation. After forming a strong alliance, one becomes bold and confident. Gradually, Ava and I were dubbed the money-making couple. I gladly accepted this flattering title. I hadn't followed news about Sophia for a long time. When I heard about her again, she had already been sent abroad by her family. This made me quite curious about what happened. Her father was indeed very disappointed in her recent behavior. No matter what, she was the daughter he had loved most since childhood. His grooming of an illegitimate son wasn't because he preferred sons over daughters. It was because he desperately wanted Sophia to get back on the right path. The Jiang family wasn't a feudal household. There was no throne to inherit. So there was never any talk of complete abandonment. Especially since Sophia had now started doing proper, serious work. So what exactly happened that made them send her abroad? I asked Ava about it. She hesitantly explained the situation. She wanted to fight me to the death. Fight to the death. How? Sophia's idea was dangerously simple. She wanted to steal business aggressively. She wanted to snatch it regardless of cost or profit margins. But she had no real say in the company decisions. As soon as she issued the reckless orders, her dad found out immediately. They had a heated, explosive argument. Sophia threatened that she wouldn't let Ava have peace. Such willfulness made her father completely disappointed. To prevent her from causing more trouble, he simply sent her abroad. Why didn't you tell me about this earlier? She glanced at me. Tell you what? That your ex-girlfriend is still hung up on you. Are you that idle? Of course I'm not idle. I'm very busy. I have to manage business and prepare for our year-end wedding. My plan was to outsource most arrangements. I wanted to accept various corporate sponsorships. When Ava heard this practical approach, she pouted. She came over to kiss me softly. In the end, I had no choice. I reluctantly, helplessly, and unwillingly compromised. Later, that wedding was arranged by me to be very grand. It was like a fairy tale dream come true. Sophia also came to our ceremony. She was dressed elaborately, as if to steal the groom, but she did absolutely nothing disruptive. She sat quietly throughout and left quietly afterward. Ava tiptoed and kissed me lovingly. Mr. Ethan, please take care of me for the rest of our lives. And that's how a broken engagement became the best decision I ever made. Sometimes what looks like betrayal is actually freedom in disguise. Thank you for listening to this incredible story of love, betrayal, and unexpected happiness. If you enjoyed this dramatic tale, please like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing stories. Until next time.